Welcome back to another build video of It Might Not Be Meta, but we don't really care. Hey guys, I'm Jedi. This build is called the HarpsAccord. It's for your teammates that might be mediocre at best, that 60 IQ machine gunner. They just want a real simple, stupid point and shoot build with not a lot of frills that outputs damage, keeps them alive, minimal micromanaging. So Recon initially put this together for Harp. And it's kind of evolved a little bit. Everybody kind of adds their own thing. It makes the game their own, and they add what they like, take away what they don't, and that's what these builds are all about. But this is a great little build, guys. We called it the HarpsAccord, and it's basically, it comes down to, it is Challenger and Gunslinger, and these two synergize really well together. On Gunslinger, or the Challenger, we're using Rampage, and Gunslinger, we are using the Bulletstorm. And these two synergize so well as far as the crit damage and the reload speed and everything else you've got going on. And along with the perks, these also synergize real well. Using the LMG, so you get a little bit more extra ammo with the Gunslinger. Strongback doesn't really come into play too much later on. Earlier on in the game it does. But as you sort of late game it doesn't. So let's take a look at this. So this is sort of the late game version of it. And we've just got the full Litos 2 set with the Archon gloves, the Labyrinth gloves. And then down for the Relic, we're using the Tranquil Heart, which gives us a bunch of health regen, 2 per second, doubles when you use a Relic on all your regen. So everything else that you've got going on later on in the build is also doubled every single time you use a Relic. Now for the fragments on there, we've got range crit damage, range crit chance, and weak spot damage. Because this is all just centering about holding that trigger down, doing tons of damage. Now we have the Bone Saw and the Silverback. Now, on the Bone Saw, we've got the corrosive rounds for some extra damage, 10% extra damage from all other sources, and momentum as well for more crit chance and crit damage. Your melee weapon, use whatever you like to use. Use whatever you want. The Silverback, it hits like a freight train, and it's great for those big, heavy targets. We've got Twisting Wounds on there to add a little bleed to it, and then Song of Fear for our crowd control. Now let's get over to the Amulets. The Amulet, we've got Ankh of Power, which gives us 15% to all damage. And then consuming a Relic is going to double that. So a lot of benefits from the Relic to this Amulet as well. For the late game, we've got the Bright Steel Ring, which allows us to dodge no matter what our weight is for our armor. Now, we've got Stone of Expanse, because this is going to give us extra 12% to range damage, but it reduces all other damage by 6%. So it is going to affect our elemental damage a little bit if you change stuff up, and our melee damage, but not really going to hurt this build. This is more about shooting. And we got Xania's Malice for weak spot damage, increases weak point damage by 10% for 7 seconds, stacks 3 times, so you can get an extra 30% damage on weak spots. Pretty effective. And then we have the Stone of Malevolence to recharge up our mods quickly to get our corrosive rounds back, because you can usually, if you're on point with your targets, you can usually reload your corrosive rounds with 1 mag out of the Bone Saw. You can fire off your corrosive rounds, hit on target, and with Stone of Malevolence, you can have that charged back up by the time that mag's done. So it's a pretty effective build all around. We're going to take a look at the stats, what we've got going on over here. Ammo reserves, we get the extra ammo, and strongback, those come from the archetypes. Now, outside of the archetypes, we're going to bring in Fortify for the extra armor effectiveness, Regrowth for the health regen. We've got Triage. This increases healing by 50%. So all of our regen is going to be that much more effective. Vigor for the extra health. I've only got the 2 in the Endurance because that just comes from the archetype. We've got Max Out on Expertise to get our skill cooldown as quick as we can, because we're going to be using those over and over and over because they synergize really well together. Bark Skin for extra 10% damage reduction. And then the last 8 points I got in Siphoner, so that we're getting health back when we're outputting damage. So all in all, guys, it's a pretty solid build. You come over the oh, well, didn't mean to do that. Fat fingering, but anyway, just the bone saw in itself is pretty nasty and effective. It's got a lot of rounds on it. Now, if you find that you're the type of person that overheats it or doesn't like the super long reload time on it like this, the other option that's really, really fantastic with this build is the Chicago typewriter. And let me just switch these over real quick, and I'll show you what we can do with that. So the Chicago typewriter, same thing. You're just losing a little bit of mag size, but you're gaining extra damage per round, and you have far less reload time. So this is the two options for the weapons right here. Chicago typewriter does some pretty good work on its own. It's a very, very effective weapon. And then when you start adding your extra points, the damage output is just so stupid. The damage output is just absolutely stupid. Well, guys, there's a couple options for you. If you're early on in the game and you don't have the bright steel ring yet, you can come over and you can either use the probability cord for extra crit damage. Works really, really well. And then just use the bruiser set. And especially if you have somebody that runs support on your squad, you can run the full bruiser set with the bruiser sword, the challenger sword. That's a great melee weapon until you get some of the end game ones for beating it. You can switch over to the probability cord and get extra crit damage, and then switch these over to the bruiser set, and you'll have a little bit less armor. You're going to be a little bit less tanky, but you're going to have a higher output on your crits. So there's a little bit of trade-off that you can use, some options that you can play with. But guys, this is called the HarpsAccord, and again, it's for your mediocre at best players, the guys on your team that they just like to shoot. You know, they don't want a lot of busy stuff going on. They don't want to have to micromanage a lot of different garbage. This allows them to deal out a lot of damage and be pretty tanky at the same time. And if you've got a decent squad, somebody else that's running support, this is absolutely unstoppable build. And the footage is from Nightmare, but this is absolutely applicable to Apocalypse. You can run Apocalypse no problem with this build on a team. It'll be challenging solo, but with a team it'll be pretty fantastic. Well, guys, I'm Jedi. I hope you enjoy. Remember to put another quarter in. Join us Sunday nights Eastern time on Twitch. We stream starting at 8 p.m. We go till whenever. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy the build. There's a little Nightmare footage to finish this out. Remember, like, subscribe, all that good happy horse shit that social media wants from you. We'll see you next time.